Welcome back to another episode of the Isn't That Rich podcast. Today is the first week of March, and we are airing this podcast because spring break is upon us, and everybody's going to be traveling either abroad or locally, but you'll be on vacation somewhere, I hope. That's warm. But we're going to talk about what you need to do financially to prepare for that, and then what to do while you're on your trip to keep your finances safe and secure, and hopefully spend the least amount of money that you need to. So Today we have invited Christine Hankins back to our podcast to really kind of give us the 411 on what we need to know about traveling, because she's an expert traveler.
I do love to travel, so thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Didn't you just go to Disney World?
I have been to Disney World, and that was
the best trip ever. And you had a lot of rewards points, didn't you? So.
I did.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk about that today.
Yes. So
welcome on. Christine is the president of our retail banking, so she deals a lot with people when they travel, and if there's fraud when they're traveling, and all that good stuff. So we are excited to have you on.
Thank you so much. Yes. Well, I would always say just take the trip and just prepare to be able to take the trip. And there's lots of things that you can do to start, year round, but starting with a budget probably.
Yeah. Well, I think about people when they think about traveling abroad, especially, there might be some fears that come up about I don't know what I need to do. Am I going to have enough money for this trip? So you're right when you say just take the trip and we'll figure it out. And these are some tips to keep in mind.
Yes. With traveling abroad, there's so many different travel agencies that will do almost like an all-inclusive. So I think a lot of people think you have to go to Mexico to do an all-inclusive, but you can go to Scotland. My mother-in-law is doing that this summer, and she has been paying on that for a year and a half. So they do zero interest payment plans. And she's going with a large group of teachers, and they're going to have the biggest 10-day experience. And they've been paying on it for a year and a half.
So she's budgeted for this.
Yes, absolutely. So you can do it.
Yes.
It's just overwhelming. So a lot of those all-inclusive options are really fun. And they do them in the States as well, to New York City and so many different places. So set up the budget.
Especially when you talked about this too, is that as an independent traveler, I like to travel. I've just started traveling alone, and you said maybe in your future you might travel alone too, or with a group of girls or whatever, but you can do that.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't travel alone.
If my husband doesn't want to go, I'm going to probably still go.
Yes.
So I will find a friend
to travel.
You can find a friend.
Sounds like you're like a travel agent. Are you serious? Are you a secret travel agent?
So actually, I would be really good at it. And all my friends that know me agree.
Well, I
like
agree
to plan.
So let's talk about budgeting. What you need to do about budgeting ahead of time. Like you said, your mother-in-law is going to take this big trip, and she's been paying it on for a year and a half now. She's going to go in the spring. So how do you set up to budget for travel?
Yeah. Well, we've talked about this before, but I definitely think everybody needs a fun account, and that can just be a basic savings account, a basic checking account. And then that way, whatever you enjoy to do, it might not be travel. You set aside money every single week for that fun money. And so you can do that here at Farmers State Bank, and we can help you set up an automatic transfer every time you get paid. And that's super easy. So maybe start with that. You can also find out what it's going to cost you, meals, transportation, that kind of thing, looking at airfare and looking at some of those all-inclusive options that sometimes really work out nice too.
Well, I think it's nice with an all-inclusive option. You know what the bottom line is going to be, what you need to actually save before you book the trip. And so having that goal, a financial goal, you can just, like you said, gradually make those monthly payments. And once you reach your goal, book the trip.
Yeah. A lot of them only require you to put a minimum payment down. So like Disney, they only require you to put down $200.
Wow.
Then you can, if you book it out a year in advance, you can make your payments to them at zero interest. I mean, you're sending them money. So there are so many different options when I have traveled that I've used and not paid interest on them. We have another great opportunity at the bank. We have a 0% credit card for 18 months. And so you can book your trip on that and then for 18 months, make a payment and not pay any interest.
Without having to pay
Yeah.
That interest is so nice.
Yeah. So we are always offering a 0% credit card at Farmers. And so that's nice if your fund money is to buy, a lawnmower, because my husband likes to mow his lawn.
Yeah.
And he takes pride in his lawn. You could do that.
Yeah.
We've done that kind of stuff too. But yeah, vacations are a good thing.
Yeah. So, Christine, I want to talk about traveler's insurance because I know nothing about it. I don't think I've ever purchased traveler's insurance. So tell me about that.
Yeah. So if you're doing an all-inclusive option, they will offer travel insurance for your entire package. And that way, a lot of people think about it if I cancel ahead of time, and that does work. So if you cancel before the trip for any reason, they're going to reimburse you for the full amount. Usually if it's $2,000 to $5,000, traveler's insurance might be $150 a person. So that kind of investment, it's worth it.
Worth it. $5,000 compared to $150.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I would purchase it at that. I have not purchased it in the past and had some family emergencies come up, and it's been very stressful because a lot of places will not allow you to switch the reservation in somebody else's name or reschedule a different date. Those are things I tried to do, and they weren't, can I just give it to somebody else so it doesn't go to waste, or can I, travel 6 months later and rebook, and they wouldn't allow me to do that. So another thing, like with Disney, we talked about Disney earlier, they will do travel insurance. They even talk about it if you get sick on your trip. So you're taking a 5-day trip and you get sick on day 2 with the flu and you have to go home, they'll refund you those. So, that's a good thing to think about too.
Yeah. Because who wants to be riding rides when you're puking? You can't.
And to be honest, a vacation is such an investment. If it's Disney, or if, we've taken some vacations that I do worry about sickness. It's like, I've been saving for this for over a year and this is so much money. What if somebody gets sick? So I think it's worth it for that as well. There are some things you do need to do your research, because there's some things that you might not want to purchase insurance for. For instance, airfare. A lot of airlines, and you have to research them, but they will, as long as you cancel your trip within 10 minutes before you leave, they'll give you like a full refund. So you might not get your money back, but you would get credit with them. Okay. So as long as you fly within like the next year. So if you're going to cancel and rebook, then that would work for you. So airlines really do work with people about cancellations. So that's one great thing.
Yeah. But you said hotels may not be that easy.
Right. And yeah, hotels are not always that easy, especially like if you're not within their time frame. And every hotel is different. So some big resorts, it's not the 24 hours or 36 hours. It's, weeks that you have to have or whatever.
Tom and I booked a hotel for the Derby. We ended up not going to the Derby. We had like 6 rooms. Couldn't get them refunded because we didn't cancel within 60 days or 90 days. And I'm like, we didn't even book this hotel but a week ago, and we couldn't get the whole refund because it was within. So, that's really important to think about. Maybe there was a traveler option, where, yeah.
Right. So a lot of places will offer it. You just have to ask. And so you definitely want to do that type of research before you're booking, right? Yeah. So that's a big deal. Another thing about budgeting that we were talking about earlier and didn't mention is just making sure you book way in advance. So airlines, hotels, they're always going to be less expensive the farther out that you book. So when they're, closer to your trip, so you're wanting to vacation this summer, you can still do that, but it's March, I'd be booking now.
So you're saying that if the flights allow or whatever allows me, or the hotel, I can book now, and doesn't, because you always hear about, flights are cheaper this day of the week, but really, you talked about that flight that you booked, that if you would have traveled on a different day or you booked a little later, it went up incrementally.
So some airlines, if you actually travel on the weekends, it's more expensive. If you travel on a Monday or Tuesday, if you're actually flying those days, they're a lot less expensive. So you do need to look around. If you can be flexible with dates, a lot of times you can price different dates and get a better price. And yes, availability, when when there's not as much availability, the price goes up. And that's with hotels, that's with airfare. So if you're looking to book a flight in 2 weeks, you're going to see really steep airfares. But if you book 6 months in advance, and I would always book airfare 6 months in advance, then you're going to get a lot better price. They do say the day thing. I've checked that out before. That didn't work for me. There are some different apps that you can check, and you can run the best, going from here to here, you can get the best deal. And so a lot of my friends, and I've checked those apps out, and that works. That's a good thing to do.
To compare and see the whole
different airlines and stuff. So you do have to look with budgeting and saving money, if you're packing back, if you're going to put luggage through on an airline, like Southwest Airlines does free bags. So, Frontier, you might pay $100 a bag to check.
I didn't even think about mentioning that because that's so important.
That ends up being costly.
I know. If every bag adds $50 or $100 for a carry-on, I think like Frontier charges you for a carry-on even. And so you think you're going to get away with not paying a baggage fee by having a carry-on, but really you're paying just as much and maybe even more than if you would have gone with a different airline.
Yeah. So just prepare for that. Do a lot of research and put that in your budget if that's who you're going to fly with, but be aware of those fees. I do think it's good if you're traveling internationally to look at the exchange rate. You can purchase money at banks, so you could come to Farmers and get some foreign currency before you left, which would be a really good thing to do.
Wait, so you're telling me right now I'm planning to go to Scotland and I can buy currency, the local currency in Scotland, here at the bank before I go on my trip, so I'm all ready when I get there.
Yes.
Do we have that on hand?
No. So we do have to order that, but it does not take very long.
So what does that process look like?
We usually can get it within a week, maybe even 2 to 3 days. It doesn't take very long.
So I come to the bank and just say I'm going on a trip. I need some money.
I need some yen.
And so you just order that. I don't think it's yen in Scotland, but
I know, but wherever you spend yen at, you can get me yen
Yes, I can get you yen.
or a peso.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you just come to the bank, you
Yes.
say, and you can order it.
Yes,
And then like
absolutely.
a week later it comes and I come pick it up.
Yes.
So what's the
you pay for it.
What's the advantage of getting my pesos here instead of Mexico? Is it going to cost me more money in Mexico, you think?
No, the exchange rate's going to be the same, but you're just prepared if you need money because like if you're wanting to exchange money there, they have certain places you can do it. But, are you going to be around where a place that will exchange it? Now, they love U.S. dollars, so you're not going to have troubles in Mexico spending your U.S. dollars, I don't think. But some countries that would be beneficial. And it's great to have a backup plan to not just take credit cards, of course, or debit cards. Take some cash and take some
the
foreign
local
currency.
Yeah. Because I think about when I get to a foreign country, you walk through the airport, you're going through customs, and immediately you get on the other side and there's the exchange counter. And so a lot of times, though, you pay a premium to have the money at that. So it's going to be higher than what you might be paying if you do that ahead of time.
Yes. Yeah. And that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think about right when I I took this trip to Scotland. So I've already been there. It's just my experience from going abroad, right? So I get
And you
there.
used yen, didn't you?
The first thing I did was take a bus to our hotel. So in order to get on the bus, I had to have the correct currency in coin. So it was important that I did my exchange at the airport, or if I had planned ahead of time, I could have done it at the bank. But people don't think of that. Like immediately what you're going to do when you get off the airplane is take a trip on a bus, or you're going to have to get there somehow. And they don't take American currency or the dollar rather. And they don't. Yeah.
Right. I think Mexico does. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of countries you do need to be prepared.
Here's my question, Christine, and this is kind of like, it's not off topic, it's still on topic. I think people find this interesting. If somebody, say I owned a boutique and someone came in and paid me in pesos, am I allowed to reject that payment or should I take it?
If you're in the United States,
I can reject it.
You can reject.
But
if
do
you
they
own your own business, you can reject any type of payment that you like.
Because I didn't know if someone paid me in pesos and then I came to Farmers State Bank and was like, here, I want to deposit this in my account. How does that work?
Yeah, so you can't do that.
No, got it. Okay.
And then it's a little bit different. So when you order money in foreign currency, we can get that in the denomination that you want it. But when returning it back to Fed, it's not that easy. So they don't just let you send $10 worth of pesos or whatever you're trying to send, or $50. It's not like that. They want maybe $5,000. Like there's a certain amount for each denomination that we can send to Fed and that they will return, to be able to return it. So it's very easy to order it, but to return it. So that's a great question, because if you're on a vacation, you want to spend all that foreign currency there.
That's interesting.
I mean,
Okay.
you can bring it back home. We can try to send it back, but like I said, it has to be in certain denominations. We can't just send whatever amount.
So that's another good thing. If you return back home to the U.S. and you need to return that, you might have to do it at the airport.
Yes.
And have to get, because the chance of you getting that bought back is higher.
Slim. Yeah.
So it was a good question.
It was a good question,
Ashley.
Yay.
Okay.
Cool.
It was.
What else do I need to do ahead of time to prepare for this trip? Because I know one of the things you said earlier was call the bank, right?
Yeah, you definitely need to contact the bank. We need to know if you want to use your app, because you had that situation in Scotland.
Oh, yes.
But we need to know to allow you to be able to use your app in that country. So you can't even turn your app on.
Yeah. So listen, I get to Scotland. I'm trying to transfer money to my checking to do this exchange rate, right? And I can't open the bank. I can't open the app. The app does not work in Scotland. But Christine told me all I had to do was literally call the bank and let them know that where I'll be traveling.
Yeah.
And she could just click a button and instantly the app would be available for me.
Why would you turn an app off in another country?
It doesn't. We don't turn it off. It doesn't work. We have to allow it.
It doesn't work.
We just have to allow it. So we don't intentionally know you're going and turn it off. But yes, when you get there, we have to allow it to work. So it's just a phone call would be great. But once you're there, or if you're traveling inside the United States, let's talk about that as well.
Yeah.
You can go on our app and just put in your travel dates. So if you're going to Florida, you can put in April 1st to April 5th. And then when you use your debit card in Florida, they're not going to flag it thinking it's fraud, and you're good. You can do that on the app, or you can also call us for that too.
Okay.
But you can put your travel dates and your place. Yeah.
That happened to me on a trip before. I was in Gatlinburg, actually, and I was trying to buy groceries for everybody on my spring break trip, and it declined, and I had a whole line of people behind me. I was mortified.
Yes.
And I was like, I swear, look at my bank account, I have money. And so then my friend had to put it on her credit card, and that worked. So unplugging a credit card, sometimes it works better in different places.
Well, we're just all busy. So
Yeah.
we're busy working Monday through Friday. And as soon as you get off work on Friday, you're thinking, I got to pack my bags and leave on Saturday. And you're not really preparing, thinking, who do I need to call and contact ahead of time? So it's busy. It's hard to remember. So that's why it's so nice that we have it on the app. You can do that 24 hours. Saturday, when you're sitting in the airport, you can add your dates in the place that you're traveling to. Internationally, you still have to make the phone call.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask. Still have to make the phone call.
To make a phone call to your bank, let them know you're traveling abroad.
Yes.
If you're
Poor
going abroad.
Jill. She's trying to get on the bus and pay her whatever the currency is, and her app's broke. And
No. Yeah. Anyway, so another thing I was thinking, you brought up credit cards, Ashley.
Yeah.
That they might be easier to travel with. But what I realize is that your credit card company will charge you a premium to use that credit card sometimes in other countries. So I'm paying higher for the money I'm spending for that exchange rate to be able to use it there. So
Yeah, they're called cross-border fees, and those are charged a percentage, usually at least 1%. So be aware of that. That's going to happen. Country to country, it's different fees. So it's not something we can tell you ahead of time, like this is what you're going to be charged. But I would always say between 1% and 2% is what you're going to be charged. And that's an additional fee if you use it internationally.
yeah, so I think about, I went out to dinner and there was 15 of us there. And someone paid for dinner on their credit card. So if it was a $500 fee or a $500 dinner, you're getting charged an extra 2%. So that's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot when you think about it out of all the purchases you're making. So it's really good to review what your credit card is.
Yeah. Yes, we have a credit card here that has an annual fee that waives those cross-border, like international fees. But you have to look into that. So it's important when looking for a credit card that you look at the advantages and then the annual fees. And so we have lots of credit cards here at the bank, and a lot of them have different rewards. Some have annual fees, some do not have annual fees. So if we know like what's important to you in traveling, we can figure out what credit card would be the best one for you.
Yeah, so don't be alarmed if your CSR is like, where do you go on vacation? They don't care. They want to help you.
Yes. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Oh my gosh, this is a big one because I don't even like using an ATM in America. So what's up with the ATM usage when you're traveling?
So that's
especially in a different country. My goodness.
Yeah. So they actually do have ATMs in different countries, but you have to make sure that your card's going to work there. Like, because they only accept certain cards. So that's another thing I wouldn't even try to do, because you'd have to know ahead of time, where are they located? Do they accept, your card? So definitely take more than one. Like, take your debit card, take your credit card, notify them before you go, and then take cash, and then take some foreign currency as well. So
wow.
If you're going outside. Now, if you're staying inside the States, it's awesome because we actually have a Kasasa account here at Farmers State Bank that doesn't have a balance requirement. There's no monthly service charge for that account. And as long as you do some qualifications, like have a debit card, have online banking, e-statements, things you're already doing, we will refund up to $20 per month ATM foreign bank fees. So you can use up to $20 a month. So you're on vacation, you need to use an ATM, just use anybody's ATM. The bank's going to reimburse you at the end of the month. So at the end of the month, they add up all of your fees and reimburse you.
So even if I don't do my Kasasa, like my 12 swipes, I still get reimbursement?
No, you do have to qualify. So you have to do.
Sorry.
Yes. So you have to do the qualifications, which are swiping your debit card 12 times a month, signing up for online banking, signing up to get an e-statement, and then having at least one direct deposit or one automatic payment come out once a month.
Okay.
So as long as you qualify for that, you do get the $20 in foreign ATM fees refunded per month.
Wow. That's amazing. And you have to save your receipts for that.
No. So the system, that's a great question. So the system automatically, it knows it's coded that it's ATM, and it'll automatically refund you. So you don't have to turn in receipts or anything, as long as the fee is $4.99 or under. If it's a $5 fee or a $6 fee, maybe if you were like in New York City, you have to return your receipt.
So high ATM fees are going to be.
Or
grab that
us.
receipt. Yeah.
Call us and let us know.
Okay.
But that's what's nice about banking with a community bank like Farmers State Bank. We don't have a ton of ATMs located all over the United States, but we're going to refund your ATM fees when you need to travel and get cash.
How nice of Farmers State Bank.
Right.
You do have to pay attention. A lot of ATMs only have a certain amount that you can withdraw from in cash. Usually those range from anywhere from $500 to $1,000, and $1,000. I would always bank on like 500. So just remember that's like 500 per day.
Yes.
So if you do need a large amount, make sure
Well,
you get some before you leave town.
Well, the reason they do that is because people have been under duress. Like I'm going to tell this story because I think it's funny. There was a guy I used to work with. He went to Wisconsin. He went to a Packers game, and he was held up at gunpoint, and he had to go to an ATM, and they were forcing him to get money, but they could only get so much money because there was that limit. So if you're traveling abroad, that does open you up for some kind of risk.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's why those limits are in place. So you're not getting all your cash taken out of your account. So anyway, it's for your own protection.
I would freeze and I would forget my pen.
Yeah.
And then they would kill me.
Another thing is with ATMs with a credit card. I didn't realize that you could use a credit card with a foreign ATM, and you can get cash advances from your credit card.
Cash advances.
So
those are high fees too, and you can pay a higher interest rate.
Yeah, a lot higher. But if that was the thing that I needed to do, was because I couldn't get into my banking, so it was all with my credit card. But I was able to get cash, Ashley, to pay for my bus ride.
Good. I'm glad you could get on the bus.
Go ahead.
We also talked like just to make sure that you secure all your items, like making sure that you don't keep all your cash in the same spot.
I think you kind of mentioned it. So let's talk about that. You said earlier that you bring credit card, debit card, cash, and then an emergency cash. Is that what you said you have, or what do you do?
And I would just put that into, or if you're traveling with a friend or your husband or whatever, I mean, you could split that up between more than one person in case you're robbed.
Yeah.
So they don't take everything.
Yeah. And we know from the movies that people get pickpocketed all the time on vacation, and then they end up with no ID to get home or all these things. So it's important to secure extra money somewhere safe.
Yes.
And not all in the same place.
Absolutely. So we went to Paris when I was 21 with my mom, and we went with a group of people, and I didn't but somebody was pickpocketed on that trip. So I think too, just like everybody's got the fanny packs are back in style.
Get your Lululemon crossbody, girls.
It's now called, what is it called? A crossbody bag and not a fanny pack
It was
anymore.
called a fanny pack.
I know.
And that's what they wanted us to wear. Now, I did not wear a fanny pack on that time. I wore something like strapped across, and it was like in front of me. But, I think do that everywhere anymore.
Yeah.
It was always like, France is packed and you're on the subways and people are close, and that's what they're doing. They're just pickpocketing everybody, and that still happens.
Oh, yeah.
But everywhere, I'm glad the fanny packs are back.
Yes, I am too. I love them. Long live the fanny pack.
But that is a safer option to keep it in the front and on you that way too.
Yeah. This isn't about finances, but when we're speaking about securing your personal information, one thing that is important is maybe to bring 2 forms of ID with you too. I was traveling, and this was in Vegas, but I was out there for a work conference, and I had my purse stolen at an event at a conference. And thankfully, that happens a lot in Vegas. Surprise, surprise. But I was able to get home. But if you were abroad and you didn't have a copy of your passport, now you're dealing with the foreign embassy and all that stuff to get a copy of your passport or your government ID. So it's good to bring 2 forms of ID.
Yeah. Or maybe make copies of both your driver's license and your passport and put those in like your luggage. That's not even going to be with you, and hide that inside your luggage or something.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Make a picture copy.
So
Will
just
they
in case.
accept that?
Well,
It's
it'd
better
be
than
something.
nothing. Yep. It is. I've always heard to do that too, to keep a copy of your information somewhere on you.
Yeah.
I saw on our Apple wallets that there's like 4 states that you can put your ID on your phone now.
Yeah.
Your driver's license. It's like Arizona, Maryland, something and something.
But not Illinois yet. It
No.
will be.
One thing that I just registered for, and I think is cool to point out, is traveling with Clear.
Yes.
Have you heard about this? So
Yes.
you go to the airport and you can pay for, it's similar to, what is it, where you get to go to the front of the line?
TSA pre-check.
TSA pre-check. So it's similar to that, but you pay this annual fee and they take a picture of you and they take your ID, and you can just walk right through the security line. They bring you to the front, and they do. So I think if you're traveling abroad and you travel a lot, it might be a good idea to get Clear or global entry if you're traveling overseas to help if you do get your ID stolen.
Yeah, so no one pickpockets you in the TSA line.
That's right.
Yes.
Just saying.
I have heard of Clear and know people that have used it. Is it offered at every airport?
Not at every airport,
Okay.
but they're getting there. They really have been doing a really good job. I had a friend, we went to a bachelorette party, and she forgot her ID in the taxi, and she was able to get through security just by using her Clear and get home. So that was really
just
nice.
because they had her picture and they knew it was her.
Yeah.
It's so smart.
I know.
Everybody's so smart.
It's brilliant. Anyway, another travel
The airport knows exactly who you are. It's just like, it's going to be where you just get bzzz
It
in,
is.
and you're like, oh, Ashley McVicker comes up.
Yes.
Well, Jill's dying to get the chip in her arm so she can pay for stuff, so she doesn't have to use the
Yeah,
credit card anymore.
I am all for it. Chip me
She
up.
wants to beep into that
I want my
airport, beep onto the
credit
plane,
card on my wrist. I want
beep
my
into Scotland, and beep onto that
ID.
bus.
I mean, why not? Right? And why not? Find me if you need to. Anyway.
They know where you are through TikTok, Jill.
Yeah, that's true.
Might as well just.
True. True.
True.
What else do we want to talk about when it comes to travel? What else do we need to prepare for?
I would say one of the biggest things to kind of sum up this episode is you do have to communicate with your bank a lot when you are traveling. And so pick a great bank.
Yes. One that you can, when you call, we answer the phone.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't have to stay on hold for 10 minutes.
And miss your bus. Yeah.
Yeah. So farmers, we answer our phones.
Right.
We
It's important.
value community and customer service. So
We value
absolutely.
what we value what you value. If you want to go on a trip, we want to help you get that trip planned, whether that's setting up your auto payments to your fun account or making sure your app gets turned on in Switzerland. We can do it.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on here today, Christine. You're so
Thank
much fun.
you.
Where can somebody reach you if they want to plan a trip with you?
Absolutely. They can call 618-252-2600. They can call or come in farmers, or I give out my cell phone to everybody.
Oh my gosh,
I
you're
do.
so funny.
I do. So to customers. So yeah, but I think a lot of our employees do. And that's what makes us a community bank. You can get a hold of us.
It's important.
So come see us before you travel. We'll help you set up a budget. We'll help you find a way.
Help
to
you
make
find
it
the right
happen.
credit card, all the things.
And keep you safe while you're abroad.
Yes.
Love it. All right.
Sounds
Thank you so
good.
much,
Thank
Christine.
you.
Yeah, I've learned a lot today, girls. This was really fun.
It was fun. Thanks for listening to another episode. We will see you next time.
So, Jill, where do we go from here?
Be sure to check out our show notes for this episode, and also be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our newsletter. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.